Hello and welcome to another special episode of On Board with Cruise Passenger. I'm Rose Kelly, your host.
And I'm Peter Lynch, Editor-in-Chief of cruisepassenger.com.au and Cruise and Travel magazine.
Well, I can't believe it's been 6 months
No,
already.
nor
But
can I.
6 months ago, we set out to educate and inform and inspire fellow Aussies all about river cruising. And I think we've certainly done that.
Yes, Rose, we estimate we've engaged 3.3 million readers during our River Cruise Collective campaign, and we're still going. We've had up to 56,000 engagements with each of our 12 videos and podcasts alone.
Well,
It's been amazing.
It has been a phenomenal ride, and I think it's all thanks to our partners.
Indeed.
They should be taking a bow, and these are people who wouldn't normally play in the same sandpit.
Superstars they are. They certainly should be taking a bow. But before we go over to them, just a quick reminder that you can still win an amazing cruise. The last one, but certainly not least, in our series for this campaign.
Oh, I love this one. It's a UniWorld 7-night cruise in Venice. It's worth
Wonderful.
$14,998, which is all inclusive with unlimited drinks, fine wines and spirits, handmade cocktails, delicious, so good, 5-star farm-to-table cuisine, and a daily choice of carefully curated excursions.
It's mine, I tell you.
No.
Oh, no, I can't enter.
You can't enter. Sorry, Peter. Let's get back to this campaign because one of the most interesting parts was the research that we carried out. We actually interviewed extensively 3,000 travellers, and I'm pretty sure the headline figure is what really shone out
Oh,
here.
yes. We found 87% of Australians said they'd open to the idea of river cruising. That's a huge market and just shows what the growth would look like once we've convinced them to come.
Well, I'm not surprised because there's a reason why people should be river cruising. But let's bring in our trusted experts from the top partner lines here, Peter, so that we can discuss those astonishing results.
Absolutely. With us today is Steve Richards from Armour Waterways, Chris Fundell from Avalon Waterways, Alice Ager from Uniworld, and David Clark from Tauk.
Hey, guys, great to see you all.
Hi, Peter and Rose. Lovely to be here.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Rose. Hope you're well.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Rose. Great to see you.
Hi, Rose. Hi, Peter. Great to see you guys.
Sounds like they're coming from space, but
Or
never.
Maybe they're in the sandpit. They're finally playing nicely together. Well, let's just say 6 months ago, we all met up in this very same place to dispel the myths around river cruising. And we've certainly done that. In fact, if our survey results are anything to go by, we have a very big opportunity on our hands.
Yes, we absolutely do. So, Steve, let's start with you. Were you surprised when you learned that about almost 90% of Australians were open to the idea of river cruising?
No, Peter, look, I wasn't surprised. It's, all of us on the call here, we're absolutely passionate about river cruising. We know it's the perfect way to travel. So, the results were interesting, but they don't surprise us. It's really about, in my perspective, I think the amount of time that you get on your holiday compared to other forms of travel that are so appealing about river cruising. If you look at ocean cruising, you have the sea days, you have the large crowds trying to get on off the ship. And if you look at traveling by land, by coach tours or car hire, you've got traffic jams, you've got checking in and out of hotels and that sort of thing. So with river cruising, your luxury hotel just floats down the river and you've got so much more time at your disposal to explore the destination and to relax on board the ship. So it's been a concept that's been popular for a long time. It's growing in popularity. All of us are experiencing great results from that, and it's exciting to see that's what the market results are showing.
That's actually very well said because people are putting more value on time. In fact, so our researcher, Carolyn Childs from My Travel Research, told us that with 4 out of 5 Aussies open to trying a river cruise, that potential is huge. So that's around 31% who are strongly in favour of trying a river cruise.
I think the question that followed was also really significant. So we asked, okay, what's holding you back? And price was a standout. 55% said cost was the reason they weren't river cruising.
But did they know the cost?
Yes, that's the point.
So let's cross over to Chris now from Avalon Waterways because we've got this interesting result on our hands. We think probably a legacy of the days when only two companies really offered river cruising here, and the price always seemed to be around $9,999.
No names, no pack drill.
No, but we do know who they are, right?
We do.
But today there is a huge change. And indeed, we did a comparison with your line, with Avalon Waterways cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest. And we showed that it was something like $15,000 of value. What?
Absolutely. That was the saving. An amazing result.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, thank you guys. I mean, river cruising generally is such great value. I mean, when you actually look at breaking it down, what you get for the price you pay for the holiday, you get a floating luxury hotel, I suppose, that is also your transportation between towns and villages along the rivers. But it's not just that, it's also all your dining that's included, your drinks that go with that, the excursions and the choices of excursions that are included whilst you're off the ship, entertainment on board the ship, the expert cruise directors, the adventure hosts that can be on board as well, and all those other activities that all combined prove very good value. And it comes to, looking at that particular one, it was almost around $500 a day. But when you include all of that, it's
Mm.
such a great value holiday to take.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there was a really strong message of everything's taken care of. So now I can really enjoy my holiday as opposed to worrying about parking the car, where to find a cafe, what to do with the family. It's just such a big difference. The second most important message, though, from those we interviewed was that they felt they just didn't know enough about river
Mm.
cruising, which is really a surprise to us. And I'm really glad that we've reached so many people with this campaign. 1 in 5 felt that they just didn't know enough to make a booking. And I know you guys all work really hard to preach the river cruise gospel. But Alice, what more can we do?
Oh, well, I'm so surprised to hear it because I spend my whole life every day talking about river cruising. So it's the
I know
center
you do.
of
I've
my
seen you do it.
universe. And I just assume that everybody's in the same world as me. But no, I think a really good tip for people is to find themselves a great travel agent, because our travel agents in Australia are outstanding in quality. You're never going to pay any more for your river cruise if you work with a travel agent. But as you see across the 4 beautiful products here today, we're all completely different. So working with
Mm.
the travel advisor, they'll be able to help you determine which one is the right one for you. And they've got all the tips and tricks, and they know all about our products, so they can help.
I think that's a really great answer, Alice. And as we know, travel agents are trained, particularly those from Cruise Lines International Association, CLEAR. They're trained specifically to eke out of people what holiday they want, what kind of destination they want to go to, and then match that with the type of holiday they're offering. And I know you and your colleagues there spend a lot of time educating travel agents, so really good response.
Yeah, I think a lot of travel agents are now personally experiencing river cruising
Yeah.
too. So there's the difference that they can speak from that personal experience. But one interesting thing is when we turned to what the people we surveyed felt was fantastic about river cruising, for those who had experienced it, we got such a fantastic result from them. The survey was very encouraging. So
Mm.
David from Talc, I'd like to imagine that you were very heartened by these findings.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the hard work's starting to pay off, and people are starting to get that message of just how special river cruising is, and the opportunities that it opens up to people. And you feel quite adventurous as you explore these, small towns. You feel very relaxed because you've got such a great companies looking after your every move. But share a very quick story. There was some clients at your river cruising event that we all attended. Literally, what was that, 6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And I got a text message yesterday from a gentleman saying that some friends were at your event. They've passed on your details, and we'd love to inquire more about a booking. We've never river cruised before. That's a true story.
Yay.
That happened yesterday. So, those sorts of things, it's one person at a time, but it's a fantastic sort of example of the message getting across to people, and
Mm.
people feeling really passionate about, taking on a river cruise for the first time, and then hopefully that builds people to go over and over again.
Yes, absolutely agree. And I think the message that I think we've been putting forward to people is just how much you get with the river cruise, what the value proposition is. On board the ship are a number of dedicated people to make your holiday so much better than if you were on your own. I think that's a really important point. Chris, I think you mentioned, the guides that you've got on board as being really important towards what Avalon is offering. Tell us a little bit about how you train your staff.
Yeah, absolutely. So they go through some quite rigorous training, I suppose. So we very much have before the season starts that we train them in exactly how we want our guests to feel on board Avalon Waterways, and part of that is obviously the onboard staff, whether that is the cruise director, the hotel manager, through to the bar staff and wait staff, but also
Very
not
important.
just our own staff, but the expert guides that can lead our groups on so many adventures off the ship as well. And I think it's all those extra touches that all of our staff and all of our ships do. They go that extra mile that actually adds more value to the holiday itself. Actually, that they come up with local stories, and you visit quaint little places along the rivers that you may miss if you don't do it with some expert guides. And
That's so
we all do
true.
such a great job on that it does really add to the value of river cruising.
I totally agree. I mean, I still remember, French cooking schools that I was introduced to. Rose knows this story about my bread, but let's not go there. And just the local knowledge and being introduced to local people, being able to live like a local, if you like. Because one of the wonderful things about river cruising is you're there on the riverbank in the city. So you don't have to get on a coach and drive, for 2 hours to get anywhere. You can get off your ship and already you're interacting with local people who are always so pleased to see you. That's the other big thing.
I've got to say, both of you have just highlighted two areas of river cruising where you can't put a price on the value of that, the personal experiences and the ease. So, that is something in particular with Avalon when we did that price comparison, Chris, between taking a river cruise versus attempting to do this yourself in a self-drive style holiday. And that was something that really created a lot of buzz with our audience and with those surveyed. It hits home when you try to compare doing it the old school way versus this is what you get with a river cruise.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that came across when we were looked at how people were choosing River Cruise was the reputation of the line. And that was extraordinarily right out there as number one, not price, but the reputation of the line, which shows the logic of, first of all, I want to be assured that the people I'm dealing with are people I know and trust with my holiday. And I guess, Steve, that's a big one for Armour Waterways because you've actually carried tens of thousands of Australians, yet you're not that well known. How do you tackle that?
Yeah, no, it's a good point, Peter. So yeah, we had the APT charter program here in Australia for almost 20 years, and in that time, almost 200,000 Australians actually have been on our ships
Wow, that's a
over
big
in
number.
Europe. So
Not all at
we
once.
so we are sort of the new kids on the block, but we have been around for over 22 years. So
Yeah.
like you said in the beginning about being a reputable company with a lot of experience, we have been an award-winning, well-established company for over 22 years. And we're good enough, obviously, for a well-established company like APT to use our ships for Europe. We've obviously split with them now, and we're now coming to the market. And yes, we obviously have to build our brand name up. And coming back, like Alice said, the travel agents, will play a great part in helping us to build our brand and just spread the message that we are a new alternative option in the market.
Look, Steve, I don't think it'll take long for that word to spread, especially in Australia. We love a good word of mouth story. So, but you mentioned Alice from UniWorld. Obviously, you come from a really renowned luxury line with a very big fleet and some amazing destinations, a huge brand there. And I'd like to know, how are you finding the Aussie public reaction to UniWorld these days?
Yeah, so UniWorld is a brand that's pitched pretty high in the luxury scale. And we've built our presence in Europe with floating boutique hotels based on our sister brand, which is a beautiful boutique hotel company called Red Carnation Hotels.
They're
And
fantastic.
Red Carnation Hotels are designed to feel like you're in London. So if you're in London, you're going to step into a hotel and feel immersed into the atmosphere of a beautiful London high tea. And we've taken that concept and delivered that onto our river ships as well. So bringing that destination feel on board through our decor. So every single one of our luxury ships is completely unique, and with stunning, masterpieces of art across all of the fleet. Everything is custom made to Uniworld. So it really is a boutique hotel experience.
That's so true. And anyone who's entering our contest for your cruise in Venice, I have to say, prepare for the chandeliers, prepare for something that is so delightfully like an enormous hotel. It's just an amazing job. And David, Tauk is an amazing 100 years old, an iconic brand. I loved talking to Steve, your global sales director, at the recent conference we had, and he talked about working here and how your job was really to establish this trusted, iconic brand in Australia. Tell us how you did it.
Yeah, well, we're in the process, obviously, of doing that. We've been our own office here for 5 years, but we've been selling here for over 30. I think it's one of those stories. You hear a lot of statistics in this industry, and 100 years sounds like a great number. But I've never felt more, I guess, really convinced that we use 100 years of experience in everything we do. So the ethics and the morals of the business, and that the way that we operate our product, and the way we explore destinations really does bring it to life, because we've been doing it for such a long time. And being a purely family-owned company, there's a lot of heart and love in that as well. So I think in terms of, the Australian market, like all of us here, we just want to get that message of how fantastic river cruising is to as many people as possible. We know the market is big enough for all of us, otherwise we wouldn't play so nicely together. But we do have that role to make sure people understand, what they're getting for their money, and what's included, and what the value looks like, and all those great experiences as well. So, to speak for all of us, it's just such a great proposition. It's a pretty easy role.
And also, we asked people about their favourite rivers. I love this question because it's really why we're all here, right?
So true.
The rivers.
Yep.
So let's go around the screen, Alice, and I'm going to ask you, what is your favourite river and why?
It's really hard to choose, but I have a favourite. I get very animated when I talk about the Nile in Egypt.
Yes.
The Nile.
I went there this year.
We love it.
Had the most dramatic and drastic emotional experience in visiting Egypt. It was stimulating beyond any trip I've ever done before. It was amazing food, just extraordinary memories that I've created on the Nile. So I can shout from the rooftops. Everybody needs to do the Nile River once in their life.
I so agree.
Great
And,
answer.
I've actually done it with you, Alice. So
Yes.
I've got to tell you, it is an
Jealous.
amazing place. But David, what about you?
I can just see Alice in Arabia. It's she looks like such a well-travelled, whereas I just look like a tourist with white sneakers on.
Absolutely.
Favourite rivers, definitely not the Torrens, even though I am from Adelaide. But, I think you've all heard this too many times, but I just go back to the classics, and the Danube for me. Every time you sail out of, say, a city like Budapest, so you've got the excitement, you've just joined the ship, it's a hustling, bustling, fantastic city. And then you get on this beautiful ship, and as you sail away and the lights of Parliament, it really is one of those pinch me, I'm here, I'm now immersed in travel. And, we're very lucky in this industry, and I'm taking some people away soon back on those rivers in Europe in just a few weeks. And I'm already excited. I'm already ready to get the suitcase back out.
Peter can brag about having done the Nile. I've done the Danube, and I remember just, cruising past the Swarovski Castle along the side of the Danube. I'll never forget that moment. Now let's go to you, Chris. I'm curious to know which one would be your favourite river.
Well, I tend to change my mind every time I sail on a different river, to be honest. It's there's so many to choose from, and it's some great options straight away from the other guys. So, but I think I'm going to say the Douro is the last river I sailed on. Beautiful river. We christened our new ship this year, the Allegria. which is a fantastic ship. And just never sailed that river, and I just found it just beautiful scenery, some great vineyards, great castles and things like that along the river as well. But it's just a beautiful part of the world, and thoroughly enjoyed that river. And yeah, the new ship, the Aperol Navigator, is just a perfect complement to that river.
Yes, so interesting. Many people are liking Portugal more and more now. So it's a very, very popular route. Steve, favorite river and why?
It's always hard to go last. The guys steal all the good rivers, don't they?
But there are
I
so
might-
many left, yes.
Yeah, there's so many. That's the thing, actually. There's so many great rivers. I might stay close to Dave Clark and go with the Rhine River. I think the Rhine's
Ooh.
spectacular. You know, if you're
Yeah.
cruising between Basel and Amsterdam, it's one of the great, highways of Europe. You got the Rhine Gorge with 40 castles on either side of the river. But the exciting thing as well is that a lot of our cruisers do a little side trip down the Moselle as well, which is a tributary of the Rhine. And people often say it's the hidden secret of river cruising. A lot of cruisers go right past the Moselle. The Romans planted the vineyards there 2,000 years ago. So all the Riesling vineyards along the Moselle, and the way that river twists and turns from near Luxembourg over through to connect onto the Rhine. It'd be crazy not to do an itinerary that combines the Rhine and the Moselle, finishing in Amsterdam, which is one of the great cities of Europe, and then you can do anything from there and go anywhere from there.
Let your hair down.
Yeah, I so agree. I mean, I've heard the Moselle, the people are so friendly, and because it doesn't get so much visitation, they're really, really pleased to see you. And the wine, of course, is stunning. Well, despite all the superstar hype around the Danube, Aussies picked the Rhine, Moselle, and Maine as their favorites during our survey. So quite an interesting result there, we feel. But I must say, interestingly, when we asked them, what about the future? Where were you planning to go? They picked the Danube. So that may tell us where they've been, but it does tell you that you're on the money there, guys. You've got the right kind of area. So, yeah, very interesting.
But I've got to say, this is an interesting surprise turnaround as well. Coming in at number 4 of the most popular was, in fact, the Mighty Murray.
The Murray!
Can you believe it? Maybe that was for the people quizzed who haven't been river cruising before. They don't know how good it is further afield.
Well, they do have a new steamship coming out very shortly, so let's see whether that manages to make some progress. So thanks so much, Team River Cruise Collective. It's been an absolutely wonderful campaign.
I'm so impressed with how nicely you've all played together, really. I mean, nobody threw their toys out of the sandpit. We're all hopefully going to be working together again in 2025 to collectively promote these awesome features of river cruising to all the Aussies who are desperate for more info.
We're really looking forward to that. Yes, more river stories, prizes, opportunities for you in the cruise world's most beautiful rivers. And a last word from our panel. Your message to Australia's river cruisers, Alice.
Oh, my message would be just do it. If you're heading overseas, just put a river cruise in that holiday because you will not regret it. It is the most exceptional value for money and you'll have an amazing time.
Well said. Yeah, once you try it, you never look back. Chris, what about you? Your final message for Aussie river cruisers?
Oh, I think Alice summed it up very well. I think, just do it. I mean, it's an amazing experience. I did my first one. Well, I'm going back 25 years ago now and loved it ever since. And it's just a beautiful, wonderful way to sail through parts of Europe or further afield. It's just a great experience and so many options to do on and off the ship. You'll just love it.
And we know we're going to be hearing a lot more from Armour Waterways in 2025. Steve, what's your final message?
Just do it as well. Look, I think it's actually a product for every demographic now. It used to be very stereotypical as an older type of clientele. We average 59 on board. We've got multi-generational families coming on board, teenagers, their parents, grandparents. It's active. It's a lot more active than people used to believe it is with bikes and hiking. So it really is a great versatile holiday for any type of age demographic traveller.
So, Steve, you're saying it's becoming a lot more cool, in other words. I agree. But last but by no means least, David, what's your final message?
I won't use the trademark, so I'll just move straight away from it. But it is just such a great time. There is so much amazing product. So I would rush in, not walk into your next river cruise experience, and then you're hooked from there. And the hot dogs are very good, so I think it's time to go.
Fabulous. Well said. That's absolutely amazing. So thank you all very much. It's been great fun. And yes, we will be back. So the River Cruise Collective will live on. We'll have lots more for you. And don't forget, you can win a fabulous River Cruise prize with Uniworld in lovely Venice. So go to cruisepassenger.com today right away and get your entry in.
Yes, sorry, not you, Peter,
Not
but
all
everyone who's
except me.
listening. And don't forget, the River Cruise Collective magazine with cruise and travel is out now at newsagents or at cruisepassenger.com.au for your digital download.
Indeed, a new edition coming out very shortly. Sign up for our River Cruise newsletters at the website and stay tuned. As I said, we're not going away. Lots more on river cruising in the coming weeks.
So we'll see you all soon for another exciting episode of On Board with Cruise Passenger.
Thanks for listening.
See you guys.
Bye.